That's good.
Swipe it.
It's done.
All right.
Live. Good to go.
Good afternoon. Woo! There. Blow the numbers off a dollar bill outside, so I've come inside here today. It's a bit windy out there, so you can actually hear through the microphones. Good afternoon. It's been a while. Hey, Julianne. It's been a while since I've been on air. Must be 3 weeks. Did the Geelong show a couple of weeks ago now, and then we committed to the kids that if we'd sold so many tiny homes, I'd take them up to the rec parks up there up in Queensland. So we did that last weekend, so that was pretty mad. Loved the adrenaline rush. Julianne, can we chat about the 3 metre model? Absolutely, Julianne, we'll get into that directly. Geelong show, a great show, loved it. Gee, I'll tell you what, Faye and Lance, they run a professional outfit. They had heaps of builders there. I don't know, I said 20, 25 builders there, lots of new guys on the block. It was also great to meet some of the other tiny home builders and stuff like that, and have a bit of a chat and talks about have a chat about the pros and cons of tiny home building, and sort of throwing around the table a couple of ideas and that sort of stuff. So that was really exciting. But I tell you who I did meet, and which I was really excited about, was Rick and his wife, Rick's Towing. Now, they got a Mogo, Mog, well, not a Mogo, they got his Mog, like a army vehicle, So, and what that does is, obviously he tows the tiny house all over the place. I think he's hooked up to tow about 14 homes out of the EXPO that night. He's just crazy, man. And it was really good sort of shooting around the table, some of our deliveries and what they've been up to, what we've been up to, and just that it's not easy delivering some of these tiny homes. Like it's, I thought I was the only one doing it tough, but in the day, some of Rick's stories were just unbelievable. And he runs a professional outfit. He knows what he's doing. So if you're ever looking at relocating your tiny homes, I can highly recommend Rick's Towing there, mate. Guy runs a tight outfit. You'll love it. And he's got the gear too, like this Mog 4-wheel drive. I mean, like you said, everyone thinks these things climb up 45-degree hills with a tiny house, but they're realists as well. So some of the places they'll just look at, they'll weigh it up. It's like, no, can't do it. And they'll call the shot, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's their reputational license on the line with some of these tiny homes they're towing around Australia. So, it was really good to meet them. And, so great show, great turnout, lovely people down there. I think they end up having about 6,000 people through, and I reckon easily about 3,000 went through the ELLIOTT model we took down. It was chocker. It was really, really good. Actually, it's the first show in our tiny homes I actually had a queue inside the tiny home. Queue outside of it, inside the tiny home as well. So, but it was great, and it was great to showcase our new ELLIOTT model, and it really went off down there. We sort of lucked it out. We sort of picked the sort of style and design and that would suit that market down there, and we definitely hit the nail on the head. So it was really great. So really encouraged about all the feedback and the sales we picked up out of that show, which is awesome. So listen, now I've got a heap of questions here. If you do have any other questions, make sure you throw them up on the screen. I'll try to answer those as well as we're going through all the questions that we've had during the week. So, hey, I missed you. Did you miss me? So it's great to get back in front of the screen and rattle on, So I was getting a bit rusty, so it's good to get back in amongst it, So I'll start cracking into these questions, and then if you've got any, make sure you smash them up on the screen, Hi from Gladstone, Queensland, Fiona Ladlow. Yeah, looking forward to meeting you up there, Fiona. We're going up. What's that? That's the what's the name of that? What's that? Cleveland, not Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland show up in Queensland again. I'm assuming it's at the same place. It's a great spot up there. I met a heap of tiny house builders there last time, and but yeah, I love jumping on. Actually, love jumping on the rides there at the fun park. What an adrenaline rush! I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Still do a bit of motocrossing and that. Probably slowed up a little bit, but love the rides. And there's a new ride there, one of the parks there called the Joker. Wow, what an adrenaline rush. Love it. So we actually hit that about 3 times in a row, so just to beat the crowds, Actually, my claim to fame up there, I was the first one ever, just on this day, inside the park. We were first in the queue. Only because we got there an hour and a half early. But anyway, we just don't like crowds, old Rico, so I don't like queues. So I just got right at the front. So that was good. We jumped on the rides and got smacked up in amongst it. So fantastic. Okay, first question we've got here. Your homes are huge. How can they be underweight? Well, we've done a lot of homework over the years. Early in the piece when I got into it, we were using steel trailers and different construction methods. And hence our homes were definitely blowing out the scales, you know. So what I do now over time, and especially when I know the ones homes are going further afield, I actually get a mobile weigh bridge going with the scales, and we actually get the ball weight as well as the wheel weight on each of the wheels. Okay, so we know we get an overall weight of the trailer, and then we get so we get a ball weight, and then we also get the trailer axle weight. So very critical when you're towing tiny homes is getting that balance. Oh, check my glass, they're a bit wonky here. Checking getting that balance of your tiny homes right, and over time you'll gradually pick up on, as you're building your homes. But if in doubt, move your wheels further back, so you get more weight on the ball, but not too much weight. Rule of thumb is around about 10 to 15% of weight of the overall tiny home on the ball of your towing vehicle. So that, of course, then that'll stop the death wobbles. So it's really scary. I've been there. I've had one of our earlier models that was a little bit, I could only travel about 80k an hour, and you can start to feel it. You can feel the back end starting to, because I only had about 5% of the weight on the ball, which is nowhere near enough. And you can start to feel that back end of the tiny home. You know, it does start to actually move the truck around, you know, so you've got to be so careful to get your weights right. And so over time, we've sort of gradually massaged it, worked out what works best for us and our designs and our overall structure. So, but yeah, a combination, how do we get our homes underweight? Yeah, as you know, we're 3 metres wide, we're 4.6 metres high, and the home we took down to the Geelong show, the new model ELLIOTT, overall weight, including ball weight, 4.38 tonnes. Man, I was stoked. It's like, wow. And that's a combination of things, a combination of we use aluminium trailers, the refrigeration panels, which is becoming quite popular now with a lot of tiny home builders. That's the lightweight 75mm panelling on the walls and the roof. And then, of course, I've also switched over now to the ProLite kitchens. This kitchen material, which is all the carcass is built out of the ProLite. So that's 3/4 of the weight of the kitchen, and it's actually used in yachts. Firstly, it's 100% waterproof, and secondly, it's probably a third of the weight of actual normal whiteboard. So it does save us a lot of weight, and a combination of all that stuff. So our standard models will come in on the money, on the weight. So it's only when our clients start adding on extra kitchens and extra cabinetry and extra wardrobes and all that sort of stuff that we need to then, for transport, because it starts to blow out our weight, then we need to start offloading a bit of stuff into the back of the truck to make sure we maintain our weight. We are in due course. We haven't done it yet. We are potentially going to charge for that service down the track if, like our standard homes are actually on weight. And if clients choose extra over furniture or cabinetry in the home, it's going to, and even heaps of windows will actually add, because the square metre of a window is actually heavier than a square metre of the refrigeration panel. So, you put more windows in, it's going to add more weight because you've got all the architraves and all that sort of stuff as well, and the glass and everything, So, hence, a combination of all that stuff, that's what brings us in underweight or close enough to the money on our actual weight. And I know there's new regulations coming out with trailers. Your DIYs got to be starting to be careful. Make sure you do your homework with your trailers and that. Now you can't have homemade trailers anymore. Moe 100% waterproof kitchen winning. It's really good, this waterproof stuff. I love it. It's a fantastic product, and like I said, it's lightweight. So just with the DIYs, just be careful. Make sure you're up to speed with all the rules and regulations now. I know you can't do homemade trailers anymore. That was overruled a couple of years ago. So make sure you do have your reputable company that does have a motor vehicle license to be able to do your trailers. Otherwise, you will come unstuck, and you don't want to get caught out with your trailers, Okay, do you deliver down to Tasmania? Well, yes, we do. However, our 4.6 metre homes are not permissible in Tasmania. We cannot do our 4.6 metre homes in Tasmania. In short, the truck and the load cannot be more than 4.3 metres high in New Zealand. So Julian's got a question here. So can the trailer on the ELLIOTT remain registered without a safety inspections? Well, no. All trailers, it's just a mandatory thing with trailers. They've got to get re-inspected by your local mechanic. What I've done with ones that I'm keeping registered, rather than take the whole tiny home into the mechanic, often you'll be surprised how a slab of beer will get a mechanic out to your place. They check all the lights, they check the VIN number, they check everything out to make sure that obviously everything's still roadworthy. They'll check the brakes, electric brakes, and all that sort of stuff. So rather than take your whole tiny home and pack up and take it into your mechanic, bring the mechanic to your tiny home, which is, most guys will do it. Like I said, it might cost you a slab of beer or a little bit extra. So are you taking the ELLIOTT model up to the Cleveland show this year? Yeah. Hey, I've got to say, the first show I did with Fane Lance was the Cleveland show last year. I've got to say, for the area, I felt a little underdressed. I was just sort of more, as you know, probably our overall look for Havenwood is a little bit more sort of Australian colonial. I would say conservative, not that sort of out there wow factor. Just homes, livable homes, not just show homes. So, however, I've got to say, looking back on photos and looking back at it, did feel a little bit underdressed with our we had a pitch roof model. I think it was the Jolie model we took up there in the woodland grey with the deck and awning on it. Looked great, but I think we need that wow factor happening up in Queensland as well. So I'm definitely going to be taking up the ELLIOTT up to Queensland just to turn a few heads and looking at the market and the overall demand. I think in Queensland people are after that bit of flair and that wow factor, heaps of glass, and hence our wraparound windows on the ELLIOTT. I think it's going to be a winner up at the Cleveland show. Here's another question on the wraparound windows, talking about that. I love the wraparound windows. Can you do them in your other models? Well, yes, you can. We've just uploaded online. As you may be aware, the first time I did the wraparound windows was on the ELLIOTT for the Cleveland show. Geelong show down in Melbourne, and it looked fantastic. I just loved it. I fell in love with it. It was just absolutely awesome. It was a bit of a punt actually, because obviously structurally I had to had to get the structural right for transport to make sure, because as you know, you're in the corner post that you'd normally have supports and all that. There was nothing there, so we had to have glass all the way around and some supporting. With the supporting posts internally. So you still got that overall effect of the wraparound glass with the silicon joint. Travelled extremely well. Had no dramas with transport. I mean, it's 1,000 k's down, 1,000 k's back again. Another question. You're talking about the glass, the more the better, as it makes it more open. Yeah, heaps of glass does present well, looks fantastic, but just got to be careful. If you don't have any shade where you're parking your tiny home, or you don't have some overhangs or some awnings or something, you're going to cook, especially if you're going off grid, man. You're going to be maxing out your aircon, because your glass is where you lose most of your thermal qualities. And then if you start to up it to double glazing, it adds a mile of weight, So Moe's got a question here. Let the models do the talk, and I'm sure we'll know how good they are without all the marketing. I'm not sure where you're going. Let the models do the talking. Yeah. That's it, Moe. I mean, at the end of the day, there's horses for courses. People like different models. People like our different styles and stuff like that. So it just depends what people are after. I mean, it's great to look at a show home, but is it livable? Does it suit your family dynamics? So it really sort of really depends on the people themselves. And what about the solar passive design? Yeah, so you've got to be real careful. As soon as especially if you're going to go off grid, you're really, like with your solar and stuff like that. Well, I saw solar packages down in Melbourne there on trailers, of course. The packages like 40, 45 grand. I mean, of course, like that's right up. That's a 5 kilowatt packages, and all they had extra over and above ours was a couple extra solar panels and some lithium extra batteries. You know, but 40 grand, 45 grand, man, it's right up there. You know, so it just depends. But like you look at 40 grand, that's a third of the cost of the whole tiny home. Like, how far do you go with your power? We at this stage just apply a very basic system because our goal is not to sell solar panels. Our goal is to sell comfortable tiny homes. The solar packages are just an add-on at the back end. If we don't care if you don't buy the solar packages from us, if you want to buy a trailer for somebody else, no problem, you know, because we're not about selling solar panels. We're about selling tiny homes, not the actual panels themselves, you know. So just keep that in mind. Can you do replacement glass, or does it have to be real glass? Yeah, Mo, in the glazing, all of our glass supplied in our tiny homes is actually all trafficable glass. Now, what I mean by that means the glass that we install in all of our tiny homes, because they're on the road. Okay, it's got to be a trafficable glass. So, which means then it's designed for highway use. Okay, so just be careful with that when you're picking up your tiny home. Otherwise, you might come unstuck down the track. But what we're doing, which is very cost effective, it only adds about $300 per window, is smart glass. Okay, that's thermal glazing. It just ups the quality of glazing. It's only just under the thermal qualities of double glazing, but it's half the cost and it doesn't add to the weight of the actual tiny home. So we've got a question: how long before the batteries need to be replaced? Well, that's I'll tell you what, solar is the prima donna of power. I don't confess to be an expert. We do a basic system. We are sort of up in the ante on that system. But when it comes to batteries, like as an example, we were caught out and our supply was caught out, and it was just a total, what would you call it? Just people we just didn't know. When he imports the the lithium batteries, of course, they don't fully charge them when they leave their depots over in China. Okay, so when they get to Australia, something we were unaware of and our supplier was unaware of, the batteries actually come near flat. So we're sending out lithium batteries in our tiny homes with flat batteries. It's like what the, you know, so it's something we've learnt, we've picked up on, we've obviously ironed out those bugs. But because the reason they don't fully charge them when they leave overseas is because of the potential, explosive principles, coming across on a boat. You imagine having all these massive heaps of lithium batteries fully charged, they're all maxed out, they're like dynamite ready to blow, so hence that's why. So we've obviously worked that out, figured that out, so we're sorting that area of concern out. But yeah, in regards to replacement, I mean, my understanding is when you look at your Elon Musk cars, your battery powered car, every 5 years you're supposed to replace your batteries. It's like, so it is an expensive exercise. It's not cheap, but that's what they say. And once again, I'm not an expert. So you just need to check that with your supplier of your batteries, how long they've actually gone to last. Checker plate decking, what's your thoughts? Oh yeah, I just, for the Geelong show, we thought we'd try something different because I was mindful of weight. So I thought I'm going to go for checker plate flooring on our decking. Now, obviously, it definitely kept the weight down, which was great. So what we did, we acid washed it so it wasn't glary and glossy. But I'd be interested to know if anyone's got any thoughts that saw us down at the showdown in Geelong, what your thoughts were on the checker plate decking. I had lots of favourable comments about it. I mean, of course, we can do the normal timber decking, but the checker plate with that style, with the ELLIOTT style, it really worked, so I had heaps of comments on that and people were loving it, so that was awesome. Also in the awning roof, of course, we can put custom wood on the roof to make it waterproof, but for this one we put some actually stainless steel wire ropes in it just so you could grow a grapevine or something on it, so or a lavender bush or something. So not lavender. Wisteria, that's a word I'm thinking of. So yeah, that was good. So anyone that saw the home down in our ELLIOTT down in Geelong there, love to get some feedback from you. What you actually thought of the checker plate on our decking, 4.8 by 1.8 metre deck. Do you do the DIY trailers? Now we've been asked this quite a few times now. We won't sell the trailers with our 3 metre detachable frame just as that entity, because there is structural elements that need to come into play when you build on 3 metre homes, because it's overhang, it's cantilevering over the trailer itself. So what we do supply, if people want to run with a base model, a shell model from Haverwood, yes, we do supply shells built on the trailer, so we know the structural integrity of the trailer and the whole outfit is done. And then so you can actually buy shell models from us, and then you can call it yours. Like you can brand it, build on it, do whatever you're going to do. But at least we know structurally it's sound, because I can't afford, because potentially it's our reputation on the line if someone doesn't know how to build on the 3 metre wide trailers with a cantilever and they're building it only from timber. It's not going to work. It's going to fall apart. So you've got to. That's why we'll only do it as shells, you know. So I've got a question here. How does the ELLIOTT handle the high wind? Well, beautiful. All of our homes are actually designed on the, a lot of tiny homes, they'll have the tie downs at the bottom on the frame. Our tie downs go all the way through to the roof. So we supply a 150 by 100 angle, 1.5 mil thick on each corner that's bolted into the bottom frame, that travels all the way through to the roof structure. So it actually ties the roof on top of your tiny home frame itself. And then we supply hold down lugs around the tiny home, so you can actually turnbuckle it and basically concrete it into the ground. And just so you're ready for the high winds. We've had 120k winds through our farm where we've got some tiny homes. No problem at all, you know. So another question here. Checker plate veranda was beautiful, and your tiny house was the best one at the show. Oh, thank you, Susan. Great. There's some feedback there on the checker plate floor. I loved it. I think it looked great. It's definitely low maintenance, because obviously you don't have to paint it. It was because we acid washed it. It wasn't glary. It was heaps grippy because you got the checker plate on it, so you didn't feel slippery and stuff like that on it. So that really works. I was pretty stoked with it, but like I mentioned, you can have a choice of either or, checker plate or the treated pine. So there's no price difference. So you just take your pick on which way you want to run with the, if you do choose Havenwood and the decking. Actually, just on the awnings and the decks, we've had a question here from people that have bought a tiny home from someone else, and do we supply the deck and awnings for other tiny homes? Absolutely. We've had quite a lot of inquiry on that. We just need to know some figures on sizes, dimensions, so we can actually design the tiny home so it suits, was designed specifically to suit your tiny home. Just to give you an idea, for the awning and the deck, it's $1,700 per square metre. So depending how big you want it, we don't provide a install service, but they're easy to install. You can actually install them yourself. We can give you all the instructions on how to do that. So we just have supply only on the decks and awnings if you want to mount one on your existing tiny home. The beauty of it is that if you ever move your tiny home, we actually do them with detachable hinges. So if you ever need to move your home, of course, it's probably built at the maximum of, say, 2.4, 2.5. With the deck and awning and folded up on the side, it's going to be too wide. So what we actually supply with easy slip hinges, so you can actually pull the deck and awning off without actually unbolting it off your tiny home. So if you ever want to relocate it or take it on the road, throw the deck and awning in the back of your truck, deliver your tiny home, and then belt it back on again with the easy slip hinges, which is awesome. Okay, are you open weekends at your display village? Well, yes, by appointment only. I work the farm on the weekends. I got cows. I got all sorts of stuff going on the weekends. So, but I do have appointments on the weekends, but it's got to be by appointment. I try to rack a few up together so we can kill two birds with one stone there. So we do it, but if you can come during the week, would be awesome. We're open most days, Tuesday through to Friday, till 4 o'clock of an afternoon. So if you can come during the week, that's awesome. But if you're out of town, you're just there for the weekend, hey, I'll make the effort. No problem at all. Can you paint or wallpaper your refrigeration panels? Absolutely. We'll still do the etch primer. We sand it, etch prime it, and then paint it. So then obviously you can put you can paint a feature colour wall on it later on if you wanted to, or you can install wallpaper on it, so over the actual paint, so we know it will actually stick. So we were actually going to pimp up one of the tiny homes, but we just didn't have enough wallpaper for the Hawkesbury show coming up. And I talked about it, the Hawkesbury show, the Hawkesbury EXPO. Fine Lands put on another great outfit. The Hawkesbury EXPO, 12th and 14th of May. Make sure you come along. It's got to be a big turnout. There's going to be heaps of builders there. I missed it last year because I had a delivery that weekend. But this year we're coming along. We're actually going to launch well, it's not actually a tiny home. I don't know, you can sleep in it. But anyway, I'm going to keep you guessing. We're going to launch that. We might put a couple of snippets up maybe before the show, but you've got to come along to see this thing. This is outside the square. Unbelievable. There's a lot of work going into it, a lot of detail. Looks unreal, and looking forward to launching that at the Hawkesbury show on the 12th and 14th of May. So yeah, make sure you come along. Big show, heaps of builders there. And I was chatting to the builders down there in Geelong. The beauty of the Tiny Home Expos, and this is with what Fine Lands are doing for the industry, which I think is absolutely awesome. What it means is people can come along, okay, and they can get to see all these different tiny homes all at the one place, all on the one day. So that way they can compare apples with apples, and they can walk around and then make an informed decision on which company they want to run with because of the style, the shape, the cost. So a heap of different reasons why people buy tiny homes. But the beauty of the expos is you get to see a heap of homes all in the one spot. And like I said, there's some great builders out there. And yeah, so met a heap of the guys down there. The couple of guys there, Phil from Humble Tiny Homes, he was a lovely chap, and he's just cracking into the industry, and he sold a couple of homes he had there, which is awesome, and he's building from the refrigeration panel as well, so a lovely guy. Adam from Evergreen, great looking home he had there. He was just actually across from us, lovely family business. Actually, funny story, I was chatting to Adam about it, and when I said to him, so what's your thoughts, where are you going? And he said, oh no, I'm just going to do 3 or 4 a year and just poke along, just, with the family and stuff like that. I said, well, that's what I said. Jeez, now it's turned into bigger than Ben Hur. So I said, get ready, buddy. Get ready to get busy. So builds a beautiful home. It looked fantastic. So another chap down here, I think he's a clone, Riley from Tree Hub. Funny guy, man. I can't believe this guy. He said he's only 21 or 22. I thought, are you kidding me? Jeez. Mate, times me by 3. Gee whiz. But a lovely guy. Builds some beautiful homes as well, eh? So fantastic. Dave and his brother from Alpha Line, they travelled all the way down from Queensland. What a tight outfit these boys are. Fantastic homes. Love their stuff. And I actually met them for the first time up at Cleveland there last year, and lovely guys, and made by Bear. That was so funny because I'm just cruising along, heading down to Geelong there, just cruising along. It was downhill, so I was doing it pretty easy in the truck, and anyway, and come across and look up the front. Oh, he's a tiny home. So anyway, I overtook him, overtook them, and then they overtook me, and then they were gone. I think they hit the go button, they were out of there. It's like damn, my truck hit a few hills, and that bogged me down a bit, So but yeah, some great guys down there. There's a few other builders I met too, but I forgot all their names. So, but yeah, like the standout for me definitely was Rick's Taylor. I'm so glad to meet him, and these guys are so down to earth, and they're just going to tell you straight. They're just going to tell you if they can do it, if they can't do it. They're great guys, and they know their stuff, which is awesome. And that's what you want. You're towing 150 G's worth of tiny home, you want to know it's going to get there safe. So definitely the crew to go with, Rick's towing down there in Melbourne. So, okay, you've got a question here. It's such a good disease to catch to be able to have a yarn with other tiny builders. Absolutely. I love it, Moe. It's really good because just chatting to the guys, you sort of get a feel for the industry and where everyone's heading. And we're not, like, Australia's a big market. Like, no tiny house builder can supply the whole of Australia. And it's all about the builders. We've got to push the industry up, not down. So we've got to definitely talk it up. It's a great industry. It's not going anywhere. So I'm loving it. Here's Phil. Phil from Humble Tiny Homes. I agree, Rick. Rick's towing are amazing. Yeah, Rick, I think he towed Phil most of the tiny homes out of there that night. I finally got away I wasn't going to get away that night because it was because I can't travel, oversized, I can't travel at night time. So I thought I'll get a jump start, but I only got half an hour up the road. I had to pull up. because I didn't have a pilot vehicle behind me, so I camped in the truck that night and took off at Sparrow Park the next morning and got home Monday Arvey. So big trip, I think about 12 hours on the road, but she tows really well, so it made it easy, you know. So great to meet Phil there from Humble Tiny Homes, and like I mentioned, he's using the refrigeration panels as well. So great product, and I think you just end up with a great result, you know, because the biggest thing is with the panelling is the insulation qualities, you know. So fantastic product, I love it. I know my suppliers are stoked because lots of builders now are starting to buy the panelling, which is awesome for them. So that's given them a lot more turnover, you know, which is fantastic. When will you be putting the ELLIOTT details up online? Well, I think Stormy said she's just uploaded it this afternoon. We got the got our architects got the plans done. Even my architect was frothing over this design. He was loving it. So I think because he's a bit younger than me, I'm not. He's not an old dinosaur like me, you know. So he's a bit younger. Love the style, love the look. So it's definitely, I reckon, appealing to that sort of mid-20s to mid-40s age bracket, you know. So young fellas, younger than me anyway. So but yeah, so we've just put those all those details up online. So you can check out the room sizes and layouts and all that sort of stuff, and which is awesome. That's something we're actually doing, even for the DIYs. As you may aware, guys that have looked on our overall pages, we're happy to supply all the information we can when it comes to like designs and layouts and that sort of thing. So we've got them all up online. So if you check them, we don't charge for it. So if you're keen to, tap in and doing your own DIYs, have a look, more than happy to have a look at our designs and see if that works for you and your family and your design, you know. So, oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just about through. I think we've covered all the questions I've got during the week. We've got Phil, panels are inert, chemically inactive. That's exactly right, Phil. A lot of what I'm because I've had a few people come through now that got very sensitive sinuses and stuff like that. So the beauty of the panels, inert means that effectively they're not letting out any residue smells. Unless it's on fire, of course, but you won't be sitting in there if she's on fire. You did the runner, you know. But when it's inert, basically they're not sending out chemicals. You're not getting those smells and that. So with homes built, I guess, from timber, you're going to have all the treatments that are done on the timber, the termite proofing and that sort of thing. So and that is an active ingredient because it's got to be active to kill termites. So that will travel through gyprock walls. That'll travel through panelling. Those odours. So if you've got sensitive smelling or sensitive sinuses. So that's another big plus with the refrigeration panel. So, I love the stuff that much. I built my home out of this home. You see in the background? Hey, I built it. All the internal walls, including the ceilings, all done from the refrigeration panel. Love the stuff. Got a question here from Wilderburn Rose. Are your ELLIOTT corner windows difficult to repair if damaged? Are they custom sizing? Yeah, well, repair-wise, in actual fact, the windows are actually site glazed. So we install the windows and they're site glazed. And of course, your site glazing, they're easy to actually pull them out. It's only a silicone joint, cut it with a razor blade, pull them out, pull the little clip beads out, new glass in, and she's good to go. So the corner windows very easy to replace if they do get damaged, you know. My question here, could you do more than one level more open plan model? Could you do one level more open plan model? Absolutely. If you look at our Charlo model, okay, so that is a classic design to be a single level home. We put 3 metre ceilings in it, master bedroom downstairs. Obviously, it's ground floor living. The whole tiny home is ground floor living. And so it's easy enough to, it's a great model, one of our models, to actually do a single level living without the roof. So you just get 3 metre ceiling heights and fantastic, you know. Question here, does your washing machines really make that much noise in tiny homes? Well, they will if you don't take out the traffic bolts out the back of the at the back of the washing machine. Funny story. First time ever I put a washing machine in a tiny home. Clean, forgot to take out there's 4 bolts in the back of the front load washing machines, okay? What that does is holds the cylinder in place so it doesn't rattle off and fall off the rollers, you know. Anyway, long story short, I forgot to take them out. And this lady rings me. She was actually stressed while she's on the phone. A washing machine is bouncing across the floor of a lounge room. And I thought, oh, crap, there's something right there. So anyway, we sorted out the bolts out the back of the washing machine, make sure you take them out, and then they're good to go. So, yeah, see, I'm learning all the time. I definitely ain't perfect. Mate, I'm learning heaps of stuff. We've got another question here. I've seen a lot of tiny homes which opt for outdoor washers. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea, eh? Outdoor washing machines, because especially if you've got one of ours on the deck, you can bung it out on the deck, do a little enclosure, and we can actually pre-do the plumbing on the outside like we do for our baths or our spas that are out on the deck. So you can put the washing machine out on the deck and actually do your washing outside. That's going to give you more storage room inside the tiny home. But you've got to remember, the tiny homes, they're on wheels, they're on frames, and if you don't have a balanced load in your washing machine, yeah, it may make a bit of noise, you know. So it's just something to sort of think about. And I've done a few now with outside showers, which is another great idea. So, you know, if you're in a beach area, or something like that, you can, you've got your outside shower, so you can keep you inside, you're not getting, especially if you're a mechanic or something, you're not going to get all the dirty stuff inside, you know. Another question here, what material do we need to use when hanging large shelves in the fridge panel walls? Will it fall back? Okay, with our refrigeration panels, it's about 0.9 of a millimetre thick steel, okay? And so you can actually screw in that with self-tapping screws with a steel cutting 10 gauge screw. You can actually screw into the panelling. It is strong. You'll be surprised at the weight that the panelling can actually take. Of course, if you've got something that's long and overhangs, like, I don't know, 800 mil or something, you're trying to put load out on here, I mean, like, that's just pushing the boundaries. You're not going to do that. But if you've got big, heavy paintings or wall hangings or shelving, you know, it only comes out about 300 mil, no problem at all. You can actually hang a heap of stuff on the refrigeration panel walls, because it's the way that it adheres to the actual panelling and the way that we mount the panels. The panelling itself is very strong, you know. So washing on the drawbar, actually that's not a bad idea. If you mount the washing machine on the drawbar, we actually put our big toolboxes on the drawbar, which our homes come with, because, you know, if you upgrade to solar, but we put our rainwater pumps go inside there. It's also great for storage. But yeah, it's another area, especially if you don't have a deck and an awning. You can actually put the washing machine on the drawbar with a bit of a platform and bung it out the front, you know. So another question here, does the purple waste hose come with the CM3 kit? Well, we actually, truth be known, we actually ditched the purple hose because we do our own plumbing connections, because we plumb the urine waste from the CM2 and CM3 toilets into our grey water system. So the CM3, which has got the chamber underneath, and then you'll have your hose going from that into your grey water system. Whereas the CM2's actually got your catch-all, the solids are actually inside the actual tiny home itself, but the fluids run through the bucket, through the sawdust and through the bucket, and we actually have that, so it's all connected into our overall grey water system. And then you can, if you only use it a light use, like weekenders, or you're not there heaps, or it's only a single person, you can just get away with the caravan hose. I wouldn't even worry about an overall absorption pit. But if you've got a family, you know, 2 or more, I'd probably suggest you go for one of the best. And I was actually chatting to one of the boys down there, who does a lot of the compost toilets and stuff. He said, with the good idea, what we suggest to people, which is the 20 metre 100 mil ag line with a sock around it, and just put that in a trench in the ground, cover it with blue metal, and then put the dirt back over it. But if you've got obviously the kitchen waste is going into that as well. He did advise actually putting a grease trap there to catch all your kitchen waste, you know, so it's easy. You're not going to clog up your whole ag line with all your grease and stuff. Will that come supplied with our kit? No, you'll need, Jesse, you will need to organise a plumber. We're actually, for people that are going off grid now, we actually recommend that people do have pre-organised a plumber at the back end. once we've done the delivery. Even though our homes, nothing leaves our factory till it's been fully commissioned. So pressure tested, it's all ticketed, it's all done by licensed tradesmen. However, in transport, inadvertently, things could move depending on the roads, how rough and whatnot they are. But then, of course, if you're going off grid, you'll need a plumber to organise some sort of grey water system at the back end. Like I said, if you're only single use, it's only yourself, and you're on a farm, just a caravan hose is going to suffice, you know. But family 2 or more with kids, definitely recommend putting underground seepage line in, you know. So, yeah. Well, listen, I reckon I've nearly rattled on enough. I've got a pizza over there. Stormy's cooking up for me, and she's just about to have a baby. So if there's if Storm's not 100% on the money right now, she's just about to drop a baby. She's well cooked. She's ready to drop, and I'm looking to be the granddad for the 11th time. Number 11 makes me look like an old man, doesn't it? You know. But anyway, have a great week. If you've got any questions, make sure you smash them in during the week. Look forward to meeting you at the Hawkesbury Show in about 5 or 6 weeks' time, and make sure you come along. I've got this new model. You've got to see it to believe it. Hooroo.